Hey, it's 2016. Woo! Well, we got an hour.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the
Break room.
break room. Sorry, I forgot what we were called for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the break room. I'm Eric.
I'm Corey, what's up?
This is going to be a very multifaceted channel. This is going to be our first video. It's going to be our first podcast as well. What you can look forward to from us is gaming videos, music videos, although not quite the MTV music videos, but
Things
stuff
like that.
about music, vaping stuff because Corey's quitting smoking.
That's probably later on,
And just generally us being us. I think we're pretty cool dudes. We hope you do too.
I think we're kind of lame.
Fair enough. And our first subject for this week's podcast is music, and we're going to start on a rather somber note, because Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead has just passed. Let's give him a moment of silence, please.
If you like to gamble, I tell you how you land. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
So, I'm not a huge fan of Motorhead myself, but I can respect the music, and I respect the people that enjoy their music. And he's an icon to the industry, and to know that another icon to the music industry has passed this year, it's fucking depressing, because B.B. King died earlier this year as well. And
We're just losing musicians left and right,
sooner or later, we're just going to be left with Justin Bieber and a robot.
Don't let that happen. Please don't let that happen.
If you enjoy music, please try to learn an instrument. It's not that hard. It's a lot of fun.
We need to bring good music back to the world because God help us.
Not just your normal good music. We need classical music too.
Oh man, I'd love to hear some swing, some Sinatra going on.
Especially because the 20s are going to be coming up soon as well.
Oh man, that would be awesome. I'd love to kick it, I'll be, mid-20s by then, I'll be kicking it in a bar, suddenly you hear some music come on, oh, is that a new artist, Get a glass of scotch and a cigar,
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, an electric cigar, but, I'm a really big fan of Sinatra, Dean Martin, things like that, so bring them back, man.
Love the 20s. Anyway, next we're going to move on to a band spotlight feature, where we talk about bands we're liking, bands we're not liking, what we're really listening to.
And events of these bands that we do like that happened in this year, month, week, day, whatever,
Yeah.
Just
Corey,
things like
why
that.
don't you start us off?
So basically, I want to bring to attention one of my all-time favorite bands, a band that Eric here actually kind of grew up with, and that is Iron Maiden, the one and only legends themselves. And basically, I got into this band because Eric and his brother showed me Run to the Hills back in 2007, 2008.
You remember SSX on tour came out?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but before that I listened to like Aerosmith and kind of older rock like that. I didn't really know what metal was, and so I went home and I showed my parents, and they were like, they're kind of they were raised in the 60s and 70s, and they had heard of Iron Maiden, and they didn't really want me listening to it, but I didn't listen.
Yeah, I grew up on Iron Maiden as well as a bunch of other heavy metal bands because my dad is a huge metalhead, so me and my brother have been listening to that since birth.
Yeah.
Really glad I showed him Iron Maiden because at the time he was listening to the Pokemon album and
I was
Beastie
listening
Boys.
to some really weird shit.
Lilo and Stitch soundtrack as well.
Man, that shit's still pretty good. I like kind of eccentric stuff, but. Back to Iron Maiden. They in the 21st century they haven't been known to be themselves really. And in 2010 they released the Final Frontier album, which is it's what it sounds like, the Final Frontier, space and stuff. But in September, I had only learned this a while ago. I'm kind of out of the music scene right now, but I learned of this about a week ago. They released a new album in September of this year, 2015, called The Book of Souls. And I gotta say, man, it's one of the best albums I've ever heard. It sounds like 80s Maiden when Bruce joined the band.
Yeah, I've only listened to one song out of it because Corey showed me when he came over today. Sounds great.
Oh, it is. It's just like when
Straight back to the 80s, man.
80s throwback, man.
He said it best. Straight back to the 80s. Straight back to good old Bruce in his beastly voice. Steve Harris on his
amazing bass.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. It sounds like when they're playing live. If you've ever heard that, it has the same energy.
It's kind of like a demo.
A little bit.
It sounds like they're trying to go live, but they're in a studio. And I like it.
Yeah. My band that I'm showcasing is Dorje. I found out about these guys because I was looking into reviews of certain guitars, specifically my Les Paul Jr. over in the corner. I was looking into reviews, and they had done a review on the 2015 Les Paul Jr. and Les Paul special that had just come out around that time. So watched that video, and Rob Chapman, the frontman and rhythm guitarist for Dorje, he instantly clicked with me as this funny, interesting guy. White guy with dreads, you're going to be paying attention to that.
You know you cannot look away from that very easily.
So when I found out that he had a band, I was like, oh, well, I should look into this. And the first song I heard was Aromancy.
Great song.
I wasn't too thrilled when he started singing, because this is the original version, but it grew on me, and the rest of the music sounded freaking amazing. They are such talented people. Ben on drums could blow away any drummer still living, in my opinion.
I was going to say, Jimmy.
Jimmy the Rev.
Jimmy
still hasn't beat, but
he has a lot of people beat.
Dave is such a groovy son of a bitch. He is fantastic on bass.
Man. I want to... Sorry for interrupting, but
it's fine.
I kind of want to meet their bassist.
Yeah, no, dude, you would love Dave. He's a chill guy. He knows a lot about sound engineering.
As a practicing bassist, I want to learn kind of more grungy, kind of hypnotic-sounding bass lines and stuff. And I think he would be a great teacher to be able to learn.
Yeah, no, he's great. Rabia Masad, he's their lead guitarist. He's fantastic.
Where's he from?
Lebanon.
Really? Lebanon?
Yeah.
No way.
He's great.
That is awesome.
And if you have time, look up Catalyst by Dorje. It's a great song. Here's a clip of it. Fucking phenomenal song. Amazing EP that they just released, Catalyst. They're going to be releasing another EP sometime soon called Centered in One. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
I'm sorry, didn't want to interrupt or draw anyone's attention away. I'm fixing up my e-cig. I'm craving a little bit of it.
But yeah, I could go on and on about Dorje. They're really technical players, but they're also making their music really simple. And they're just a great listen. If you have the time, definitely go check them out. Next up, we have a gaming segment. Corey, why don't you start us off?
Okay, so basically, we want to do this thing every month where we kind of bring attention to highlights and stuff of our favorite things in gaming and whatever. And I've been tasked with Game of the Month, and I chose a game that I personally played a lot earlier this year when I had a PS4. And it is Middle-earth: Shadows of Mordor. And a lot of people think it's kind of just a carbon copy of Assassin's Creed, Batman, and stuff, but
yeah, and what I saw looked like Assassin's Creed and Batman, like he said, set in the Lord of the Rings universe, and because I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, I wasn't really too interested, but Corey tells me it's a rather decent game, even forgetting about the lore.
Yeah, honestly, if you get, if you kind of ignore the fact that they're in Mordor and all that, and Gollum and all that, it doesn't really feel like Lord of the Rings, it basically feels like a whole new franchise that's coming out, and I hope they make a sequel, because it was a very great game.
Yeah, like I said, I've never played it, but I've seen a lot of people play it. It looked like it's not really my type of game, but I'm still going to look into it, because it's one of those games that I don't necessarily want to just leave on a shelf, that kind of thing. I'll probably pick it up on G2A at some point.
If you were to pay retail for it, I'm going to say right now, I don't say this about a lot of games, if you were going to pick it up for retail when it came out, I'd say it's not a bad deal. For $60, I bought it, right out of the gate, right when it came out, day after, and I started playing it, and I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I thought it was just going to be Assassin's Creed. I just need something to pass the time, but I ended up getting hooked on it, and personally, it's an aggravating game.
Yeah.
And if you have anger problems, like us, personally...
Yeah, I'm really bad about it.
Yeah, yes. If you have anger problems, I do not suggest it, unless you have something to kind of mellow your anger.
Corey has Z-Sig, I have my music.
E-Siggity.
I've been tasked with checking out a PC part of the month, and this part is a rather personal part for me, because it's the GTX 560, which I have in my computer down here. Oh my god, did I ever waste a shitload of money on this card.
Well, it does what it's supposed to. Most of the time.
Kinda. So what had happened is I sold my Xbox and all my games and stuff for $100-ish. Took that $100, bought the GTX 560 because my grandfather had given me a computer with a rather old but still capable processor in it. So, me being the idiot I did just enough research to convince myself that this was a good idea. Spent the $100 on it.
You do that a lot. You try to convince yourself that things are worth it, and then...
Did that with my Les Paul.
Not really. Actually, the Les Paul was worth it. It's beautiful, but you have the wrong strings on it.
It's not necessarily that I have the wrong strings, it's that I wish I had a neck pickup. Because I have a Les Paul Jr.
Yeah, but...
I also wish it wasn't just the Rocksmith guitar. Anyway, back to the PC parts. The card doesn't perform that well in 2015, and it doesn't perform that well for games that were made when it came out. But what it does is it does play lower-end titles like Team Fortress 2, Contagion, Skyrim.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to play Skyrim, with little to no problems, definitely pick up a 560, man.
I wouldn't say pick up a 560, because there are way better cards for the money.
But I'm saying, if you just want something that's just kind of thrown away, if you see one at a yard sale,
let's put it this way. If you find it for $10 on Craigslist and it's not covered in dust, you might think about it.
Yeah.
But if you're spending the $100 like I did, get a 750. Get a 750 Ti if you can.
Get a Titan.
Fuck it. Get like a GTX 950 or something so that you can use things like Shadow Play, so that you can use GPU boost, so that you can get way better performance if you have a better processor.
Keep it cool, though.
Definitely keep it cool, especially the 560, because it's a rather hot card. I tried Litecoin mining on it as well. Spiked the temperature to uncomfortable levels on stock clocks. Oddly enough, so did Civilization 5 on DirectX 10, or not 10, but 11 rather.
Yeah.
Ran fine on DirectX 9 as we found, but DirectX 10, that game just doesn't like that card.
Yeah, the night we were playing, actually, Civilization 5, I was playing on his computer, he was playing on his laptop, and we were playing with his brother, who was just down the hall, and it ran fine, but then, I kind of got a little nervous. I'm a cautious guy, and...
Far too cautious, but...
Well, in this case, it helped. It definitely helped. And
because when he told me to check out the temperature, it had risen to, almost 90. It was at 89 degrees
Celsius.
So that's not great. That's getting near boiling.
It's definitely, if you're a PC gamer, even a console gamer, even, especially console gamer.
Keep your stuff cool.
Keep it cool, because if you break apart, in your PC, sure, you can replace it, but it costs money. But if you, break apart in an Xbox or a PlayStation or even a Wii, anything.
It's going to be either hard or impossible to replace that on your own.
And if you have a retro console from like the 90s or like the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox original, don't break them. Please do not break them, because as gamers, we love even seeing videos of them, because
or if you're going to break them, do a cool thing with them and like make portable N64s, or because that's fucking awesome.
Or even just make them traveling cases for smaller consoles or handheld.
Yes, actually.
Like if you end up breaking your Xbox original, that is the perfect case. You can make a lunchbox out of that for your kids, or
you can put a computer in it and turn it into a Hackintosh like this guy did. Still, I'm gonna put a link to the video.
We'll put a link, but I don't personally dabble in that stuff. I don't trust it.
Anyway, the last little thing in the gaming section is I just got another Xbox 360 for Christmas, because my mom and dad are awesome, and despite me being a total shit this year, got me this because I've been begging for it to the point where I almost got slapped. I love this thing.
He doesn't. Hold on. He does not have a hard drive in it, though.
That is an issue.
It's got the 4 gigabyte, pre-installed, which means, we can't really do a whole lot on it. I say we, because we always game together.
What I can do is I can have YouTube on there, and I can play my Forza.
Yep. And when you do get a hard drive, since I did a license transfer, I was actually going to see about downloading a few games I have, like Skate 2.
Dude, Skate 2 and Skate 3 and Rock Band 3 were done.
Yeah.
That is all we need.
I also have the Force Unleashed 2 with the DLCs.
Good point.
Yeah, and there's also another game I want you to check out that's on the indie store that I've actually paid for, and it's called Solar 2. And basically, you start off as just a little asteroid in space. And you gotta, ram into other asteroids and build up your size, and eventually you become a planet, you develop life and all that. But the more things you absorb, the more you progress, and soon you'll become like a star and things like that. And, I wasn't really a scholarly person in school, but space has always been something that, intrigued me. And in this game, you'll go from small star, medium star to a large star, and then you go to neutron star, and then eventually you'll become a black hole. And then at that point, the only thing that can destroy you is other black holes.
It sounds a bit like Spore, but for planetoids.
It is, and it's a lot more dumbed down. There's little side missions you can do. There's a whole bunch of things you can do, and I think I bought it back before Microsoft switched from the Microsoft points. I paid 1,600 Microsoft points. No, 900. It was a very cheap game, and
so that's about like $2, $1 or $2,
something like that. Now, yeah,
nice.
It's a great game. I definitely recommend it. It's very
Sounds fun. Yeah.
It's only one player. There's no online. There's no local, but it's a great game. If you're in a bad mood or something, you just want to kind of kick back, just kick your feet up. It's great.
Yeah. And that leads right into what would be a week in review, but since it's New Year's, it's going to be our year in review.
Woohoo! Yeah.
I'm going to start off first by spouting a little bit of bullshit. I don't remember a lot about this year. I don't really remember a lot about much. Things I do remember about this year, though, is had a bit of a tough time in high school in 2014. In 2015, almost carried that over, but it was way, way smoother. So much better for me. By the end of it, I ended up getting swindled out of a relationship, but that's fine because my ex got back together with me, and now we're doing very, very well. I also started and finished college this year. I took a semester, didn't really care for any of my classes except speech, but you know what? It was a learning experience, both from my classes as well as actually learning that I didn't really care for the offshoot offshoot site of the college in my area, because I didn't feel like making a trip to Coeur d'Alene every couple of days. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, from Sandpoint, Idaho, which is a tourist town. I didn't feel like doing a 2-hour commute or whatever it is, so I just went to the offshoot campus and didn't really like any of my classes, really. So I may do another semester later on, but for 2015, I'd say one semester is good enough.
You know, I gotta say, for someone who wants to go to college, if you know, you people out there actually want to go to college, if you have the money and the ability to, do it. You know,
Definitely.
do it. I personally really want to go, but I don't have the funds for it, and I wasn't able to get the scholarships done in high school. And it really kind of saddens me, you know, waking up every day thinking, oh, you know, if I had the money, I'd be down in Utah, you know, just kind of learning how to make computer parts, you know, and write software and all that. But, you know, I can't. I'm stuck here doing this.
Yeah, and
I mean, this is fun, but
I'm sure if I went on campus and lived in the dorms with people, I'd have had a much better time.
oh, I can do that. My social anxiety, it's just...
But just doing the offshoot center was not great. What I would like to do, though, is go to Japan, specifically for learning Japan, get a student visa, a 1-year student visa, and just have fun with it. But that's still about $7,000 to do.
You're going to learn Japan.
Learn Japanese. Thank you for correcting.
He's going to learn Japan, people.
Learn Japan, people.
Let's go learn Japan, you know, hike up your bag.
Anyway, some more 2015 bullshit for me, just to wrap up.
I've got a quick story.
Let me finish up first.
Okay.
Just to wrap up, Christmas, got my Xbox. I hung out with friends a lot this year, and I'm really happy about that.
The 4th of July, our ex came up, and we were all hanging out at the beach, and she got mad at us. Well, she got mad at me because, you know, I was smoking cigarettes, and she's like, oh, I don't want to do that. But she's behind me now.
Yeah.
He's still friends with her, but I don't care.
More or less.
She kind of annoys me, personally.
All right,
if you're watching this, you know, I'm not, you know, trying to do that, but
that's if they know who they are.
Well, yeah. I mean, someone could just fake it and say,
yeah, I guess.
You know what, you're a dick, you know. Don't do that.
You take over.
All right, so I got a story. So earlier this year, I had my PlayStation 4, and I just graduated high school. You know, I was feeling awesome. You know, I was laying in bed all day, playing Borderlands, playing Grand Theft Auto, you know, all those. And one night I'm sitting there, and I don't think you've heard the whole story.
No.
So I'm sitting there, and you know, suddenly, you know, I'm not feeling too right. You know, I'm just not really wanting to do anything, and it's about 8:30 at night. You know, and I'm still living with my parents, of course, and it was heat, but. Yep. I'm sitting there, and I go out into the living room, and I tell my mom. She's like, all right, well, you know, just go take a nap. And I was like, all right, whatever. I went and took a nap, woke up a couple hours later. They were all asleep and everything. And I noticed, this weird kind of pain, you know, down here. So immediately, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I got to go to the hospital, you know. It's probably appendicitis or something. I got to get this little bastard taken out of me, you know.
Yeah.
And
gotta go give birth.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there, and I woke my mom up, and I'm like, I need to go to the hospital, you know, I'm not feeling good, you know, I think I need to go. And she's like, all right, well, keep an eye on it overnight, you know, blah, 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 we'll see how you're feeling in the morning. Next day comes up, I feel fine. No pain. Absolutely no pain, you know, and I'm just like, are you okay? What are you doing?
Are you dead?
You know, are you dead? And, so I'm sitting there, and then that night, it happens again. A little bit worse this time, and I'm sitting there, and I read online, you know, if you have appendicitis, don't quote me on this, I just read this from just some random site.
WebMD.
Well, no.
Yeah, I know.
But a site kind of like that, you know. And that if you're laying on your back and you pull your right leg up like this to your chest, and if you feel sort of pain down here, it could be a sign of appendicitis kicking up. So I did that, and it started to hurt, you know, and I was like, oh, great, you know, here it comes.
That's fun.
You know, and then a few days go by, you know, on and off, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, you know what, it's probably nothing. Then one day comes up, and the symptoms get really, they get real, you know, I'm sitting there, and I'm not going to get too in-depth with it, but, so my cousin comes down, and his dad, he's hanging out. You got to just kind of do this with your foot.
I'll deal with it later anyway.
There's like a spider or something.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
Not to freak you out. I know you hate it.
No, it's chill.
It was just dangling. It was probably like swinging. Whee! Anyway, and his dad's there, and and his dad is, who's having a couple beers and stuff, and I'm not feeling good. It's about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I'm sitting there, and I told my cousin, I was like, dude, I really have to go to the hospital. Will you drive me into town? And he's like, well, I'll see if I can borrow the car. He goes and talks to his dad. His dad's like, no, you can't do this. You guys just want to go party, blah, blah, blah. Which, prompts me. And,
Yeah.
we just sort of snap. And we're like, you know what? No, I'm not feeling well. I need to go get this checked out. I don't know what the hell's going on. You guys, guys need to
fuck
wake
you.
up. Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's basically what we said. And so me and him go back in my room, and I'm sitting there, and, I'm just like, oh my God. And so then his dad opens the door, and he's like, so you're really not feeling good, huh? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And so we load up in the car. We go to the hospital. He drops me and my cousin off. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I got someone with me in case something happens. I got my phone on me and all that. So they put me in ICU. They draw blood, and I hate needles.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that. I'm terrified of needles, or I used to be anyway. And I'm sitting there, and my cousin's over on this side. I'm getting blood taken out of my left arm. And I'm sitting there, and he kind of grabs my hand, and I'm sitting there, and, I'm trying to look away, and I'm starting to feel kind of faint. I'm like, just kind of breathing. I feel like I'm in labor, I'm going to have a baby. And I'm sitting there, I'm just gripping his hand, I'm breaking his, and I'm going like that. And the nurse is sitting over there, she's like, it was done 5 minutes ago. And I'm like,
then why is it still in me?
Yeah, and I look at it, and I'm like, oh. And I look at it, and I was hooked up to an IV. They didn't tell me I was going to do that. So I knew something was going on, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
Okay. So that's happening. So, that night goes on and everything, and I got a CAT scan done and everything. They said they couldn't see too many things wrong. It was a little bit of swelling and stuff. So I'm like, all right, whatever. It's cool. And my friend Alex, when he lived up here at the time, he stopped by. He had his appendix removed when he was 10. He was 20, maybe 19. 20, yeah, he was 20 at the time. And he's like, all right, you know what? I'll take you home. Your parents and everyone's probably asleep, so just be quiet and whatever, and all that. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go back home. Me and my cousin, we're all hanging out. We're doing all this stuff. The next day rolls around, and, I'm feeling better, But despite the hole in my arm,
blood.
I'm sitting there, and I'm going to sleep, and, I'm getting all tingly, and I'm like, I don't want this arm anymore.
Same.
And the next night, I look at my mom, and I'm like, okay, I'm really hurting, and it was really, really hurting. It felt like someone was sticking me with a cattle prod. And she's sitting there, she's like, all right, let's go. She doesn't drive at night. It's 9 o'clock at night in the summer. So it's dark, it's hot, humid, and it's just uncomfortable. All sorts of uncomfortable. So I get dressed, get my shorts on and all that. We go in, they put me in a separate room, and they had blood taken out of this arm this time. Didn't bother me so much. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, cool. And I feel like this is dragging on. I'll wrap it up.
It's fine.
And so they do that. They had me do 5 CAT scans that night.
Shit.
And they had me drink 2 gallons of iodized, what was it? Iodized sodium water?
Something like that.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there and I'm drinking it, and it tasted good. It tasted like, Pepsi. It was good. I'm a sugar freak. I love it. I'm a Pepsi fiend. And so that goes on, and then she comes in with a needle, and I'm like, oh God, what is this now? This is it. I'm going into surgery. So I'm sitting there, I'm hyperventilating, my heart's beating. I'm sitting there, just kind of constricting, kind of seizing up a little bit. And she just takes the needle, pokes it in right here. You can actually see the hole where
you can still see it.
Yeah, it's
could show you.
Yeah, it's right there somewhere. It's too
You can see
too
it.
bright. Yeah, close enough.
Very faint, but
But she injects me with this stuff. The stuff that I just drank. So now I don't know the exact measurement. I'm not a math guy. It's 2 gallons of this stuff in my stomach and another pint and a half of it in my blood. And so she's sitting there, and right as it's going in, I can feel it. I'm not trying to weird anyone out.
yeah, okay.
But I'm sitting there and I'm just like, and I'm getting cold, and they're wrapping me up in like 10 blankets and all this, and I'm sitting there just like, getting all cold and stuff.
Freaking the hell out.
And all this stuff happened. A couple more CAT scans, and then doctor comes in. He's a really cool dude. He's like 60, 50 something. I don't know. Fuck. And he comes in. He's like, "There's nothing wrong with you."
What?
There's fucking nothing wrong with you.
What?
And I'm like, you stuck me with 3 needles in 2 nights. Did 10 CAT scans? And I'm fine? And he's like, yeah.
Then explain the pain.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so why the fuck am I hurting? And I actually said that in the hospital, no less. And he's like, okay, well, if you calm down, I'll tell you. So, you eat too fast. And I'm like, okay.
Alright, Naruto.
Alright. And he's like, do you smoke? And I'm like, yes, because at the time I would smoke a pack and a half a day. I was a tobacco fiend. I loved it. And he's like, okay, well, combination of eating too fast, too many carbonated drinks, and smoking will cause kind of bubbles to form.
Yeah, air bubbles.
In your body. So I was like, oh, well, alright. So, I slowed down on everything, and it felt a lot better. Sometimes it kind of hurts a little bit, but I know for a fact that it's not appendicitis.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm throwing up blood, then hospital time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was basically my big life-altering event of 2015. Maybe next episode I will share my deep, dark secret about 2014 that he knows, all my friends know. It was a very hard time, but...
We all had a hard time in 2014, then.
Yeah. Let's just say I'm so glad 2014's over. I'm so glad that whatever event that might have transpired that year did not.
And now that 2015 is coming up to an end, I would like to say a quote, and so would he. My quote is Black Veil Bride's quote.
Oh, yeah.
It's New Year's Day, so rise from the ashes.
Always.
Just, if you're going to be a new you, be a new you. If you're going to be the old you, but better, do it. Be you.
And if you don't want to be you, be a unicorn. That is from...
Batman.
Yeah, that is from the internet. You're on it right now. You can check. Google it. Bing it. I don't judge. Do it.
Go for it. Use Yahoo if you have to.
Oh, God, no. Don't use Yahoo. I mean, I got Yahoo email, but don't use their search engine. It's worse than Bing, in my opinion. Anyway, mine isn't really a quote, and we're looking over here because all our cues are over there.
Yeah, all our notes are over here. I meant to say that at the beginning.
And, so mine is, even Megadeth, happily holding hands in a meadow. Still more metal than you.
Just remember that.
Just remember that. Keep that in mind. Go to bed at night. Tell your kids, tell your wife, tell your husband, tell your donkey, tell everyone that Megadeth is more metal than you. And Megadeth, if you're watching this, I love you.
Megadeth, if you're watching this, you're more metal than you. just remember that.
Okay, you know what? That's kind of stretching it. I mean, if they're more metal than themselves, then it's just an endless cycle, and it's just gradually rising.
Metal. Anyway, guys.
Oh my God.
See you in the next one.
Yep.